Hey guys, and welcome to another podcast. First off, I want to tell you guys that I am sick. um, I don't know, something came over me over the weekend, and like my sinuses are all screwed up. So if I just like blow out sneezing or coughing, I'm not dying. I'm just sick. I wasn't even going to do a podcast this week because when you're sick, you don't really feel like doing shit. But I do turn 30 this next weekend, and since I'm turning 30 this weekend, today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to really discuss any topic with fitness. There's some fitness advice in this. There's going to be some fitness advice in this podcast, but this is going to be a podcast about in the 30 years I've lived on this earth. These are some of the things I've learned, and I jotted down this list on Sunday as I was going out throughout the day. I just was anything random that came into my mind, I wrote down on this list. So this list is not in alphabetical order. Also, I do not have any type of layout for today's podcast. I just have this list that I'm going to go through. Might talk about ones here and there. This is not going to be a real long podcast, but this is something that I think maybe could help a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, especially since there is over 46% of my listeners that are in their 20s. So this is stuff that they could really benefit from. But also, I do want to say too, thank you guys for spreading the word of this podcast. We are continuing to grow. We are averaging right under 1,000 listens for each episode. We are around the 700 to 800 mark, roughly on average for each episode, and that's all thanks to you guys spreading the word. This podcast would not be growing if it wasn't for you guys. It's hard to believe that I have almost 800 people listening to every single episode of this. That's a lot of people. So I thank you, and I thank you for all those who bought my book on Amazon, Awaken the Warrior. I've been getting emails about that. You guys are loving the workout program in the back of that book. You guys really apparently love how you can adapt that to whatever situation you're in. That's one of the reasons I designed it the way I did. It's a training program that you can use for life because it shows you how to alter it in the book. But yeah, with that all said, we're going to get right into today's podcast. And do the best I can. Like I said, not feeling the best, but we're going to do what we can today. So, in my 30 years of life, I've learned a lot of things. 30 years is quite a long time on this earth. And by the time you turn 30, you start to realize that in only 20 years, you're going to be 50. And most people live to be about, on average, 70 to 80 years old in the U.S. So it kind of gets to you, you're like, when you get to your 30s and you're like, only 20 more years and I'll be 50. And 20 years goes by like that too. Don't let people fool you. Your 20s go by the quickest ever. Like, for instance, when you're young, when you're like in your, teenager years, I feel like those years took forever. Those years like literally kept going forever. They seem like they never were going to end. And I wish I could go back to those times and live those times again because my teenage years, I didn't know it at the time, were going to be some of the funnest years of my life. But your 20s go by so freaking quick. I mean, you get a job and everything just flows by so quick. I say enjoy those 20s, make the most out of those 20s because, it's after 30, you typically, for men, your testosterone kind of falls as you age. After 30. That's just how men are. I mean, that's just how we are. And if you listen to my testosterone podcast, you know that testosterone is falling at a rapid pace. But it just kind of gets to you, at times, being like, yeah, this is 30, and like a midlife crisis type of deal. Nothing that I would do anything crazy or anything like that, but it just kind of makes you think. So with the first one, like I said, these are in no chronological order. They're so random. I might be flipping from relationship advice to the 2020 quarantine, for example. I don't know. This is literally what I thought up on Sunday, and that Sunday is when I came down with the sickness too. So who knows what I came up with in here? But we're gonna go through the list. First one is no one cares what type of music you like. Like what you like. In my years of living, I've learned that's just like what you like. Don't care about like if people say, "Oh, this music is really stupid" and whatnot. Just like what you like what you like. I mean, I have so many playlists that are just so random. They could go from country music to metal to Taylor Swift. I mean, I mean, no offense, but "Shake It Up" from Taylor Swift is a damn fun song. It is what it is, you know. Don't be ashamed of the music you like. Like what you like and just move on. Okay, let's see here. Sorry about that. My computer went kind of whack and my list kind of just almost disappeared. That was weird. All right. So you're always going to want the newest technology, and technology is always moving forward. This is just something psychologically I've learned. I love Apple products. And one thing I found in my life is I was always going to buy another Apple product. So one thing I learned in life is don't spend your money on an Apple product or any technology for that matter if your device still works good. I learned this later on when I shouldn't. When I should have learned this earlier on. I could have saved a lot of money. But once I learned this, I started using my phones for many years. I would use a phone till the battery is just about shot, and then I would upgrade or a laptop. I mean, I still have my MacBook Pro from 2010. And I actually just sold that to my dad last week because he needed a new laptop, and I'm thinking about finally investing in a new one because 20 years later, you should probably invest in a new computer for the most part. But this is just something I learned, is technology is always going to be moving on. It never goes backwards. You're always going to want new stuff. So just be aware of that. So build wealth by investing in future technology. This is something I learned in my mid-20s. Wish I would have learned this in my early days. I would have, if I would have learned this, if I would have knew about this back in 2010, I would have been one of the early investors on Tesla in the $10 range, $10 to $20 range, instead of what I currently own, which is in the $500 to $600 range of Tesla. But I would have built my wealth. I would have built wealth at a very young age if I would have known about this. But you guys in your young 20s, build wealth by investing in future technology. Always put your money where everything is growing at. Technology is always going to move forward. It's never going to move backward. Till the end of time, technology is going to move forward. Find solid technology companies, invest in solid technology. You will thank me later. Trust me. I wish I knew that when I was younger. If you're an introvert, embrace being an introvert. Don't change based on others. I'm an introvert, and some people that know me in life say, dude, no, you're not. You are not. People at the gym would probably say that, but I am. I'm an introvert. I'm not a huge person that goes out and parties anymore. Maybe when I was younger, I had more extrovert in me, but I'd say I'm like 70% introvert to 30% extrovert. I can be extroverted in certain situations, maybe with some alcohol in me or with some marijuana in me. I can be an extrovert, but I've been an introvert all my life, and I don't regret it. I love being an introvert. If you are an introvert, don't let others tell you, that, or make you feel bad for not wanting to go out. In college, for instance, if you're an introvert, you can relate with me. You don't always want to go out. In fact, you very rarely ever want to go out. A good night for you sounds like sitting on the couch watching your favorite Netflix series, sipping a glass of whiskey. That is to me an amazing night. While others will say, come out with us, come get drinks with us, and you are like, you just do not want to, and that's okay. Don't feel like you have to. Never let extroverts tell you need to do something. You live your own life. If you want to have fun, being an introvert, being alone, that's cool. That I totally understand. If I'm around people too long, I go crazy. I need my alone time. It's one of the reasons I love living out in the country, because it's very peaceful, no city life, nothing crazy happens really. It's just a very peaceful thing. And there's nothing wrong with being an introvert. Embrace that. 2020 quarantine was truly one of the best times of my life. I know tons of people that hated 2020 quarantine. They lost their minds. They couldn't leave their houses. They lost their minds. Well, like I said, me being an introvert, I loved it. 2020 quarantine, I learned all kinds of shit because I spent majority of my time reading. I read tons of stuff, including I read the whole entire Bible for the first time in my life. I've always wanted to read the entire Bible, and during quarantine, I sat down and made it a priority to read the whole entire Bible. I also learned how to get really good at playing chess. I loved it because that 2020 quarantine, made us locked up in our houses, and we had to just find ways of entertaining ourselves. People I know went crazy. Like if you were an extrovert during the 2020 quarantine, you were going crazy. Luckily for me, I have a home gym in my basement, so I can just train in my basement if I don't have access to a gym. So I used that a lot. Without the gym, I probably would have lost my mind. My home gym, I luckily had that home gym to keep me in line mentally. But the 2020 quarantine was truly one of the best times of my life. It was a time when I played a lot of video games. I caught up on a lot of games that I wanted to play. I had a large backlog. This was also when I lost my job because I lost my job into COVID. So I was unemployed and I just made the best out of it. This is also when I really started focusing on my business. This is also when I wrote my book during 2020 quarantine. Like literally, I changed my life during 2020 quarantine. I also learned all about investing during 2020 quarantine. I read so many books on investing. I mean, I literally changed my life during the quarantine of 2020. I'm so thankful that happened. I'm so thankful that God had that catastrophe happen because it helped me out a shit ton. I am so thankful for that. I know a lot of people, maybe you were really struggling during 2020 quarantine. Maybe you had COVID. I've had COVID twice now. And both times it basically attacked my sinuses. It's different for everybody, but for me, it really attacked my sinuses. The first time I had COVID, my taste was completely gone and appetite was completely gone. The second time was nearly not as bad. But hopefully I don't have COVID a third time. Hopefully that's not what this is. I don't think it is, though. I already feel a little bit better today than I did yesterday. And the past times I've had COVID, it was a downward spiral for about 4 to 5 days before I started feeling a little bit better. The first time I had COVID, I was actually sick really bad for 2.5 weeks. I literally felt like I was going to die. And you might ask, well, you should have got the vaccine, Chun. No. I'd rather just get the COVID than the vaccine. I don't trust that shit. Just me personally. You can like what you want. That's just my beliefs. But yeah, the 2020 quarantine, that was something I really made the most out of. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, if you didn't enjoy the 2020 quarantine, I apologize. For me, it was something I had a lot of fun with. I learned a lot and changed my life with. God will take away friends of yours that do not bring you closer to Him. So remember this. Anytime you have friends or a hangout group that you're hanging out with and they are taking you away from God, God will intervene and take them from you. For instance, I started playing online MMOs in, let's see here, 2018, and I got involved with this huge group of friends. I became their kind of leader. I started a guild in one of these games and I became their leader. And I started a Discord group and I built a large online friend base. These people all around the world. And these guys, they most of them were atheists. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have friends that are atheists. But over time, I found that God was constantly trying to push me away from them. And I always thought, I liked these guys. I wanted to be friends with them. But it wasn't till a couple months ago when I just decided to leave the Discord group altogether and just leave them. And my life has been a lot better. I mean, they were great friends of mine. They really were, but they were bringing me away from God. And God knew that. And God wanted me to, He wanted me to be around people that are Christians. He wanted me to be around people that love Him like I love God. And after I really got away from that, my friend base, in person, I have built so many brothers in Christ at my gym, like my whole group I train with and just other guys in the gym too. Like there's so many Christians. I love it. I've built the most amazing friend base with brothers in Christ. And it's an awesome thing to have that. So if you are hanging around with people that, aren't the closest to God, it's okay to be friends with them, but when God starts to nudge you away from them, don't fight it. Let it happen because God knows what's best for you, even though you might think differently. Always remember God knows what's best for you. Okay, don't ever, and I mean ever, get close with your friends' girlfriends. You will lose your friends, I guarantee it. Yeah, this is just basic. I wish I would have followed this in high school. I lost a lot of friends to this. I got close, became friends with other friends of mine's girlfriends, and it's not like I ever screwed around with those girls. They were literally my friends' girlfriends. I didn't screw around with them at all, but I became close with them. And some of those guys I was friends with, they just stopped being friends with me because I was getting too close to with their girlfriends. This is something you just have to be smart about. Do not ever get close with your friends' girlfriends. And if you're a girl, I don't know if this applies to women. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, if I was dating a girl and she was friends with one of my friends, I really don't mind. I mean, I'm not a jealous guy. I really, if I'm in a relationship, I trust the girl I'm with. And if I don't trust her, I'm not going to be with her. That's one of the basic things of relationships. If you can't trust the person you are with, get out of that relationship. That's not even on this list, but that's just great advice. Dump anybody who you're with that you can't trust. If they don't let you look through your phone, or if you want to, or if you just can't trust them and they can't trust you, just get out of that relationship. It's not worth even messing up. It's not even worth messing time around that at all. It's going to be a mess for you in the future. I guarantee it. Okay, let's see here. Don't work a job you hate if you're single. It's better to be poor and stress-free than rich and stressed out. This applies for you single guys like myself. I thought for the longest time I had to work for other people. And I did this just so I could have an income, just so I could have health insurance, just so I could have the regular things you think you need. What I learned though is when you're single, you only have to worry about yourself. You can literally eat eggs and toast if you want to. You know, you can literally live super cheap if you want to. You have nobody else depending on you if you're single. So don't think if you're working a job to make your ends meet, if you're single and you don't like the job, leave the job. Literally, it is way better to be poor eating eggs and toast and be stress-free than rich and stressed out. Use that time off of work to find other income streams, but just do not think that you have to work jobs you hate if you're single. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You know, me, I live in the country, and for me, I lived outdoors when I was younger. So for me, I always thought, what's the worst that can happen? I lose my house? Okay, fine. I'll go live in a freaking woods. Like, I have never needed much. I have always found that is way better to be poor and stress-free than work for other people and be stressed out of your mind. And this is different for everybody. Some people love working for other people. For me, I can't stand it. I have a mentality and a psychology where I have to be the leader of whatever I do. For me, that's just my psychology. It doesn't work. Anytime I try to work for people, I never put them first. I always put myself first. It's just something in my psychology I've learned, and I can't work for other people. It just does not work. It just is what it is. you gotta, I mean, if you like what you do though, and you like your job, I mean, like I said, before the 2020 quarantine, I had a job working for Quillen Brother Windows, and I loved working for him. That was the only boss in my life, Bob Quillen. He was an amazing boss. He respected me. He respected my psychology, and he literally was a great boss. I loved working for the guy. But that's the only boss in my life that I've actually liked working for and actually felt fulfilled working for. That's why it sucked so much when I lost that job. And that's why I just went on my own after that, because I found, it's way better to figure out how to meet my own finances than work for other people and be unhappy all my life. So that's just something you have to make a decision for yourself based on. Money does not buy happiness. It buys depression because you always will want more. You might think having a lot of money makes you feel really happy, but guess what? You're always going to constantly want more. Even think about Hollywood, for example. What happens to those young actresses and actors that make it big on Disney, make millions of dollars? Most of those actors and actresses, once they become in their teens and their late teens, like think about Miley Cyrus, for instance. She, like I talked about on a podcast before, I was saying how they were saying she could be as rich as Taylor Swift if she kept up her good acts and whatnot. And she fell off the wagon. She got involved with drugs. She got bored with life. She shaved her head. She went to rehab. All this crazy shit because she just made so much money. She was bored, and you think once you have all that money you're going to be happy. It just buys you depression though, because you're bored and you want more. And we as humans always want more. It's something I've learned in my 30 years of life is we always want more, and money will never buy happiness. It never will, because when we leave this earth, we can't take anything with us. People that build up, a large stream of saved up income, saved up capital, and if they don't have a family of their own, to give that out to, once they go to the grave, that, what happens to all that? It's like, why build up so much freaking wealth if you're only going to be on this earth, at a max, 80, average speaking, about 80 years. Now there are people, a lot of people on my mother's side, have lived close to 100. I don't think I will live that long. Neither do I want to live that long. I honestly, 60 would be good with me. I mean, I'm not attached to this world by any means. As I've lived these 30 years, this world just gets worse and worse. Yeah. So money does not buy happiness. Don't think it does, because it's just going to cause depression if you only base your life on money. I have been happier in my life when I have been more poor. It's true. If my house burnt down, the only thing I would grab would be my confirmation Bible. It is the most valuable object in the world to me. This is something I had to mark down just because I didn't think this like a couple years ago, but after I, read the whole entire Bible and whatnot, I realized the Bible has every single question you want answered in life in that book. It doesn't always say word for word what you want answered, but it gives you a way to figure out that answer. The Bible is literally the most important object in this physical world that we have today. And a confirmation Bible, one that was given to me by my church that I was confirmed at, it is the only object I would care about taking from my house if it was burning down. I would literally jump through a fire to save that Bible, because that is a very, very powerful object that I own that has changed my mentality on life. It is something of great importance to me. All right. You could die tonight, or you could die tonight. So stop living like you're going to live here forever. This is just, you got to realize this. You could die tonight in a car crash. Somebody could pull over center. I mean, think about that. On your way to wherever you're going to go tonight, maybe home from work if you're listening to this at work, or to the gym, somebody could cross center on the highway, and that's it. You're going to be dead. Somebody crosses center going 55 on a highway, you're not going to live through that, no matter how good your safety ratings are on your car. Your life's going to end like that. So don't think that you're going to live forever, and live each day to the fullest, because you could literally die tonight. So stop thinking you'll be on this earth forever. Don't be ashamed to like certain things that others might laugh at you for. So there's going to be things that you like in life that others might just think is funny. Like, if people knew, like, okay, they probably know this because I posted this on, my Instagram stories, but I love rom-coms. I love rom-coms. A good romantic comedy and a glass of whiskey at night and some marijuana, that is a fine night. I mean, rom-coms are just feel-good movies. I'm not ashamed to like them. I know, a lot of guys would laugh at that, but I don't care. Same with like romantic anime. I think romantic anime is one of the best anime genres out there. I just love the storylines, the artwork put into it, just the hard work behind the stories in them. Romantic animes, I mean, are very top, like close to action animes for me, just because of the integrity and work that goes into making those. Those are things that I like, that I'm not ashamed of. Other people may laugh at that, but I like that kind of thing. Also, it's psychologically too. You tend to watch on TV what you don't have in life but you want. And for me, I'm single. I'm gonna be 30 and single. Never been in a crazy long relationship in my life. I've just never found the girl that I want to be with, and that's just, it is what it is. I think I live vicariously through rom-coms and romantic anime at times, just because I have not found that person in my life that I want to spend my life with. Okay, if you have someone you care about, never let them go. That might be your soulmate that God had set up for you. Fight like hell for them. So basically for me, I think I thought about this when I was thinking back to a relationship I had in high school. And the girl I was with was awesome. She was a Christian. She loved God. Her family was great. And the relationship I had with her was good too. But I left her because I was attracted to her friend. Like, I honestly, I wish that I could go back and fix that. She even gave me a second chance. She was so awesome that she gave me a second chance, and I still blew it. I still freaking blew it. And it's one of the reasons I think, I'm still single to this day. I think God really wanted me to be with her, and the fact that I threw her away like, a wet newspaper, really upset God. And I think I think I'm being taught a lesson, spending the rest of my life single, and whatnot. And if I do die alone, I accept that. I maybe made a mistake there, and I feel bad about that. I really do. The guy she ended up with she ended up marrying him and having kids, and they have a beautiful family. That's great. I'm happy for him. But I think she could have been an amazing wife. She was a great person, and there was very little that I didn't like about her. I just was attracted to her friend more than her at the time, because I was a young dude, and I at the time thought, the hotter the better, and her friend was just a little bit hotter than she was, and I was immature, and I regret doing that. And it kind of feels good to vent about this and talk about this out loud, because I've never actually told anybody my thoughts on that whole relationship that had happened. But yeah, if you have someone that you care about, never let them go. If they care about you, never let them go. That might be the soulmate that God had lined up for you. Fight like hell for them. Don't cheat on your girlfriend with her best friend. Literally what I just talked about. Don't do it. Just don't do it. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. Never drink so much at a party that you can't perform later for a girl that night. This is just something I learned the hard way. Partying too much and drank too much, got with a girl, and it is what it is. Performance can suffer with too much alcohol. That's just a given for us guys. You know exactly what I mean. It's called liquor dick. That's the name that we termed back in the day. Just avoid drinking too much if you think you're going to get with a girl for the night. Have certain weekly things that you can look forward to. It will help you stay motivated to finish the week. Yeah, this is something I just learned probably in my early 20s, when I was working stressful jobs and I hated a lot of things in my life, and I was really depressed a lot. I found that having certain things, like every weekend, every Saturday, I would like catch up on all the anime for the week or something like that. Or I would plan just little things in my life to look forward to. It helped me make it through each week. Just something to think about. Always have something you can look forward to. Sometimes your biggest breakthroughs in life can be fought by surrendering to the depression and letting all darkness flow through you. Just don't let it get the best of you. When I lost my job before quarantine for working at Quillen Brothers, I went through an ultimate depression, the darkest depression of my life. Because before then, working for Quillen Brothers, I was making good money. I never had to worry about anything. I was eating steaks every night, like awesome steaks every night. I had plenty of money. I was loving it. And I loved my job. I loved the job I was doing. It was great. And then when I was let go like that, I lost all that. I had to start eating like a peasant. I had to eat canned tuna. I literally went through a dark depression because I had everything to then having nothing, and my finances were melting, and I had nothing. All I could do was go to God. So I did. I prayed to God over and over. I had so much depression. It was ridiculous. And I decided to just let the depression flow into me and flow through me. And something that I've learned, like almost minoring in psychology, is when you realize you have something, when you realize you have depression, it is a lot less dangerous than when you go through life and don't think you have depression when you do have depression. It's way better to come to terms if you do have depression. Because if you know you have depression, you can fight it and you can control it. Darkness can be a very evil thing, but there's a reason God allows darkness. Darkness will push you to a new path. Darkness will drive you to reach for new things. And when I was at my ultimate low, after I lost that job, didn't know what I was going to do, I prayed and prayed and prayed. And I let the darkness carry me on to writing my first book, Awaken the Warrior. That was the time when I knew that I had to do something in my life that just was something. I needed to give it my all, because I didn't care at that time if I lived or died. I was just so depressed. I didn't know what to do with my life. I've never had a job where I felt so fulfilled with, and I didn't care whatever. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to die, I want to at least leave a legacy on this earth. I want to write a book. And I put all my energy, all my time into writing a book. Slacked off on my workouts even. All that to write a book. And I'm so glad I did. I let the depression flow through me, but I didn't let it get the best of me. That is the key word. Let depression flow through you. It can lead you to a new path, a better path. Just don't let it get the best of you. Don't fall into the darkness where you can't get out of it. Think of this as if you're a Star Wars fan. What happened to Anakin? Anakin fell into the dark side and he didn't get out. He fell so far into it that he killed Padme. He was trying to protect Padme, but he killed Padme because he fell so into the darkness. Allow the darkness to flow through you at times if you need to, because that depression will push you, that stress will push you into a better path. Just don't fall into it. Don't let the darkness control you. Have control of the darkness. In the winter, save money on heating your house and buy a small electric heater for your room to sleep, and get a good winter coat to wear around the house during the day. This is something I learned, probably in my mid-20s. I saved a lot of money on heating my house when I found out that I didn't have to turn on my heater till it started, really getting freezing and snowing. But till then, I could really save a lot of money by just getting a heater to put in my room to keep my room from freezing, and I could sleep, and then the rest of the house would be cold. But as it gets into winter, though, you have to turn the heater on just because otherwise pipes will freeze. If you live up north in northern America, you know what I mean. Your pipes will freeze and it will be a bad deal. So eventually you got to turn your heater on. But you can save quite a bit of money though by when it just starts getting cold, leaving your windows, the blinds open for the day, let the sunshine in, warm the house, and then use a little heater at night too. It helps a lot. Just something to think about. Always keep your enemies closer than your friends. Keeping your friends close is a great thing, but always keep your enemies closer than your friends. Never let your enemies know they're your enemies. This is just something I learned in life, and it's just something to remember, because you never know when those enemies that you have may be very beneficial to have on your side and have as your allies. Always remember that will come in very handy. Always keep your enemies close. Always think 10 steps ahead in any big decision you have. Play them through in your head. If you have my book, Awaken the Warrior, I talk about this in the psychology chapter. I explain how to do this and how to practice this. I explain why you should do this. Always thinking 10 steps ahead in any big decision is so important. It can help you make a better decision. Think like you're playing chess in any big decision. Play the moves out in your head. Never sit with your back against a door in public or anywhere. If you're a man, this is something you should have been raised. Your parents should have raised you. You never, ever sit with your back against a door in an office, in a restaurant, ever. You just don't do it, because when your back is against a door, you're at a weakness. You literally are at a weakness anytime your back is against a door. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always be, never just think every day is going to play out the same. That is when, random shootings happen. That is when people break in and just, start stabbing people. That is when you fall into the norm. Even in a town, if you live in a safe town, I mean, my town is pretty safe. I live around a lot of religious people here. I still follow this very strictly. Never sit with your back against a door. It can save your life, and it can save others you care about. Because if your back isn't against the door, you can respond quickly and solve the situation. Always be kind to others and show others compassion. If there's one thing I've learned from the Bible, reading the Gospels, it's the power of kindness and compassion for others. That's literally why Jesus said to the disciples, the two most important commandments are love God above everything else and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two most important commandments because they can literally forge a better life for you. When you are kind to others, they are kind back to you, and vice versa. It's a chain. Always be kind to others and show them compassion. Even the enemies in your life, show them compassion and show them kindness. Trust me, I know it's hard, but do it. It's gonna play out for you so much better in the long run if you do. If you feel stuck in life, find a good MMORPG to play in your free time. Yeah, I found this out when I was working jobs I hated. When I was working jobs I hated, I found that having a good MMO, which is a mass multiplayer online role-playing game to submerge my free time into, helped me beat depression. Because when you're in a job you hate, you feel stuck. You feel like you're not moving anywhere. In a good MMO game, though, in a good RPG, you can improve, you can build your character, you can make yourself feel like you're accomplishing something. This is just something I found that maybe it's not the most healthiest thing to do, but it helped me a lot in life. It helped me beat a lot of depression. Just try that out. One of my favorite MMOs that I still play to this day is Dragon Raja on iOS mobile. The emulator works good on PC and Mac OS too. It's a great giant open world game where you create your own character, and it's just a great MMO. It's probably the best MMO I've played since RuneScape back in the day. It's just an excellent game. Video games can cure depression and can give you meaning. Yeah, this is literally what I just talked about. Sometimes in my biggest depression in life, I found gaming was the biggest cure to it. In fact, when I herniated my L4, L5 discs in my back, and I couldn't really lift much at all, I had to, I was training shoulders and arms basically because that's all I could do. I was fighting depression then too, and I found that is when I played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the first time, and it cured my depression. The story in the game blew my mind. It brought me back to video games. It made me realize how much I was missing out on not gaming anymore, and video games can cure depression. I'm telling you, they really can. Know that you might die alone and make peace with that. It might happen. You just have to make peace with that. It is what it is. Accept it. Peace is within those who worry not of what they cannot control. Only worry about what you can control in life. The things you can't control, the things that are going to happen the way they happen, there's nothing you can do about it. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen the way it is. Accept that situation. Peace will reside in those that worry not of what they cannot control. If you're stuck in life, grow your hair out. It will give you new meaning to life and allow you to think differently. I did this when I started growing my hair out in 2018. I had lost a job at the Bryan Times, and that job I really didn't care for. I really didn't like my boss. But at the same time, once I left that job, I decided to just change my complete person. And one of the ways you can change your complete person is do an extreme. Either, cut your hair super short or grow it out. And for me, I look like I'm 12 with short hair. So I knew I was just going to grow it out. So I focused on growing my hair out in 2018, and I just didn't cut it at all. And I didn't have it trimmed even until, let's see here, 2020, maybe in quarantine, maybe. I've always cut my own hair since then. I've never actually got a haircut by a professional since I started growing it out. I've trimmed it myself here and there, but it's just something I found that when your life is going to absolute hell, if you make a big change like that, even just like the hair on your head, make an extreme difference. If you have long hair, maybe cut it short. And if you have short hair, grow it out long. There's a comfort in that, and I don't know why. It's a very comforting thing. I still, me being in psychology, I find it fascinating how much long hair has improved my life. Just the way I walk, the way I talk, my confidence. It has helped me greatly. I don't know why that is. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's fascinating. It's just something you could try in life if you're stuck. Try growing your hair out. It's just something to try. If you're struggling with confidence, grow your hair out. Nothing builds confidence more than wearing a man bun in public. So, yeah, if you're struggling with confidence, like I was for the longest time, grow your hair out super long, put it into a man bun, and go to like the Walmart and walk around. It will build your confidence level. The first time I remember that I ever tied my hair up in public, I felt so out of place. I was like, dude, this is really embarrassing. And then once I realized in life that nobody gives a shit what you look like, they really don't. They're too worried about themselves more than they are you. Once I learned that I can do what I want. I can tie my hair up in public. I just have to own it. Whatever you do in life, just own it. Be confident whatever you do. Confidence is the ultimate driver for people to respect you. You can do anything. If you do it in confidence, people will respect you. Remember that. Confidence equals respect. And like I said, if you need a confidence booster, grow your hair out and put a man bun. Put your hair up in a man bun. I hate that word, man bun. I just use tie up. When I put my hair up, it's tied up. I hate the word man bun. It's a ridiculous word. But put it up, wear it in public, and you'll build your confidence. Trust me, that will take your confidence to a new level if you can walk around public. Um, so next one. Looks like we're going into a new topic. I told you these were going to be really random. Marijuana smoked responsibly can really improve one's life. I started using marijuana when I blew out my discs in my back, my L4, L5. And I found that smoking a little bit of marijuana responsibly every night before bed can really improve my sleep and improve my recovery. It's just something I've learned in life, and it's a thing I do responsibly. Now, back in high school, I would be unresponsible with that, and I would get high off my ass all the time. Nowadays, though, I just use it for recovery. It can help a lot. Just something to think about. It can maybe improve your sleep if you struggle with sleep. Hold on to high school relationships if you're really close, and put a ring on that finger. Don't risk ending up alone. Kind of already talked about this. If I could go back, I would totally stay with that girl that I met back then because she would have been an amazing wife. If you are with the person you like, even in high school, even if everybody's saying, oh, there's so many more fish in the sea, if you like that girl, put a ring on her finger and hold her close. Never let her go because she might be the one for you. And, if you guys are happy together, don't let other people say, oh, there's more fish in the sea. Find a way to just make it happen. Put a ring on that finger. Some of the best relationships I know in life are from people that met in high school and stayed together. I know a lot of people I went to school with that hooked up in high school and they've been with each other and married and have kids now, and they live amazing lives and they're very happy. Don't let people tell you that you shouldn't get together with your high school sweetheart. That whole myth that your high school sweetheart is not the one is bullshit. If I could go back, I would do it in a heartbeat. Trust me when I say waking up at 30 years alone every day is brutal. Being 30 years old, one of the most brutal things is every day waking up alone. Don't let it happen. If you are with somebody when you're younger and you like that person, hold on to them for life. Literally, it could make your life that much better. I could have probably beat a lot of depression I had in life had I had a self, a girl that, helped support me, helped me support me through those hard times in my life. But I fought everything alone in my life. I have learned how to be a lone wolf. I've learned how to be a lone survivor because that's just my life now. It is what it is. So trust me when I say waking up 30 years alone is every day is freaking brutal. If you have a girl and you like her, she likes you, and let's see here, you guys trust each other and make each other happy, stay with her. Only have kids if you can handle the responsibilities that come along with having kids. This is self-explanatory. Don't have kids if your life is a mess. Don't have kids if you're going to be putting your kids at risk for a bad life. Only have kids if you can handle the responsibility and make a good life for them. This is very important. I grew up with amazing parents. They provided everything I needed. They taught me so much. They were amazing parents. And if I ever had kids, I would only want to have kids if I could give them the life my parents gave me. Meet people in person, not online. Online, everyone, and I mean everyone, is fake. It's true. Everybody online is fake. If you have an Instagram account, you're fake. I'm going to admit it. Me having an Instagram account, I've posted posts too that make me seem fake. It is what it is. If you have an Instagram and you post things on your life, and highlight the good things in life, it's just creating fakeness. And when you meet people online, more often than not, they are not the same people that you meet online. They're completely different people. Meet people in person if you're going to meet people. A new girlfriend or whatnot, meet in person. Online, everybody is fake. That leads me right into the next one. Filters for social media should never have been created. They are the work of the devil. If you use filters on social media, you should be ashamed of yourself because there are so many girls that use filters that look nothing like themselves. And here's a test you can do. Find a really attractive girl on Instagram. Go to her stories. Now click the little filter she's using when she's talking and doing a selfie or something. Click that little filter and say, try on you. You're going to use that filter on yourself and look at how different you are. Look how attractive you look. You're like, holy shit, I look great. Take the filter off and that's what you really look like. That is how messed up social media is. There are girls making millions of dollars putting out filters and making themselves look just augmented, completely augmented. And I put the blame on girls here with this because I don't know any men that use filters to make themselves look better. I never use filters. I don't know anybody, any man in my life, any friend of mine or anything like that, anybody like that, that's a man using filters. It's crazy. So why are girls thinking that they have to be this unnatural thing for us? When I find extremely attractive in a girl is a girl that can have confidence in just owning whatever she looks like. She doesn't need to put on makeup if she doesn't want to. She doesn't need to, I don't know. She doesn't need to get all dolled up. She just owns it, whatever she's in. That's a really good confidence right there. What is so unattractive and an extreme turnoff is when I see an attractive girl put on all this makeup and put on all these filters and then try to be like this other person that they aren't actually in reality. When you are fake, it is the most unattractive thing you can do. Okay, that is any women. I mean, I like I said, I only have like 22% of my listeners are women. But if you're a woman listening to this, please stop using filters. Us men, we don't find that attractive. We find that a turnoff. Filters are the devil. Be yourself. Be who God created you to be. Show humanity what God made you look like. That is what you need to show others. Don't put up a false impersonation of yourself. It's completely a turnoff. Never, and I mean never, get involved in an online relationship. Yeah, this is just, don't do it. Trust me, you might meet a girl in a video game. I have done this, and you might try to meet up in person. Don't do it. She's not who she says she is. Chances are you're going to get catfished, and it's a mess. Never, and I mean never, get involved in an online relationship. It can be a mess. Don't be a sheep to anyone except our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Anybody who resides on this planet, never be a sheep to. That means never follow anybody like they're your shepherd, unless it's Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. That is the only one to be a sheep to. That is the only one to allow to be your shepherd. Give your life to Jesus if you haven't already. If you haven't been baptized in life, or just maybe personally given your life to Jesus, do so. Your life will be a lot better. All wisdom begins when you start to fear the Lord. This is straight from the book of Proverbs. Solomon was the one that wrote this. All wisdom in life begins when you start to fear and respect the Lord. It's just, think about that. It really will bring new meaning to your life. Read the book of Proverbs in the Bible many times in your life. I still read the book of Proverbs over and over to this day. It is the one book that can teach you so much in life, and it can teach you how to deal with people, which is something a lot of people struggle with, and for good reason. People can be complicating. You only have one life on this earth. Don't be afraid to take risks. Some of the best gains I've made in life is when I have not been afraid to take risks. If you see a risk that's maybe worth taking, trust your gut and just go with it. It might change your life. People who take risks usually are the ones who succeed. Think about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he would literally invest all the money that he possibly could into himself, into his business. He would borrow money for rent. He lived in a super small apartment. It's crazy. He lived in a super small apartment. He would borrow money from friends to pay rent and invest everything he possibly could into his own business. People who take risks usually are the ones who succeed. Just learn from Elon Musk on that. If you don't trust investing in yourself, invest in technology companies that you trust to change the world. For me, I found when I stopped putting money into myself, investing in myself, because I found that I just, wasn't the greatest person to invest money in. It just is what it is. I found that when I started putting free money of mine into companies that I trust to grow, I found my wealth started to build too. So if you don't trust yourself with your money, invest it into businesses that you see that have a big growing potential. Always save your energy when trying to accomplish something. Yeah, just think about that. It is whenever you're trying to do something in life, always take. And I know people will say this is asinine. The hardest route is the best route. This is not true. Don't let anybody tell you the hardest route is the most rewarding route. The hardest route is not the most rewarding route. I guarantee it. Sometimes the best route is taking the easiest route out or using the least amount of energy to solve something. Think about that. Think of, for example, the person who created the riding lawnmower. They obviously wanted to not mow lawn with a push mower anymore. So they created the riding lawnmower. They went the lazy route, and they became a success. Became a multimillionaire, the person who created the riding lawnmower. It changed lives. So don't think always taking the hardest route around things is going to be the most rewarding. Chances are, if you find the same path but find it in an easier way, you're going to be able to accomplish more, and you'll also have more energy to spare for other tasks. Accomplish each task with the little amount of effort needed. You never know when you might need that extra energy. Just like I said, angels and demons are real and all around us. The spiritual realm is real. Yeah, this is nothing to joke about. Anybody who makes fun of demons or angels and says it's all a fairy tale, they exist. They're real. They're all around us. I have literally I've been helped by a guardian angel many times in my life. I've literally been looked out by a guardian angel. For instance, I'm going to say like this last summer, and this is just one occasion. I was using a machete to chop limbs out of this tree in my backyard to clean up this tree. And I swung the machete on one of these limbs and it bounced out, and the blade end hit the back of my knee. Now, if you don't know, the body, there's a vein that goes down your leg that you can die of if it gets sliced. That is a vein, it runs all the way through the bottom of your leg, through your groin, and up into your heart. It's a very big vein in the body. In fact, they do some surgeries going through that vein if you have any heart problems. The vein is very important. This machete blade, I kid you not, slammed the blade end against that vein, right on that vein. And I remember when I did it, I was like, what did I just do? And I looked down, there's not a mark on my leg. Not one mark. And the blade is sharp. This machete blade is like a freaking blade. My guardian angel was looking out for me then. It is what it is. There's no explanation of what happened that day. That vein should have been sliced. That machete was sharp. And it came out of my hand, slammed into that vein with the blade right there. Didn't even have a mark. I had no mark on my leg. Explain that. It doesn't make sense. Okay? My angel was looking out for me. No doubt about it. And also on the course of demons, yes, demons are real. Demons I'm telling you, I was possessed by a demon back when I lost my job from Quillen Brothers and I went into a dark depression. There was a time in there where I don't remember anything because I was so depressed. I was such in darkness. Right before I wrote my book, I was in such darkness that I would pray to God every night to give me peace. And I don't even remember it. I don't remember. Think about this, for example. I don't remember writing the first section to my book. The introduction, I don't remember writing that. I was literally under some influence of spiritual energy. I don't even know. I mean, if there was spiritual warfare, like an angel trying to pull the demon out of me, I have no idea. But I cannot explain the darkness that I felt, the dark energy all around me, that I was just letting demons into my life at that time. And like I said, I don't remember writing the first section of my book. That all is a complete blur to me. And no, I was not on marijuana at that time or anything like that. This was strict spiritual warfare going on in my life. I'm telling you, do not think that angels and demons are not real. They are real and they're all around us. Be aware of the spiritual realm. Try your best not to judge others. That's God's job, not ours. It's hard not to judge others. It really is. When there's people living lives that you don't agree with, that don't agree with the gospel, you want to judge them and you want to think you're better than them. Fight like hell to try not to judge them, though. That's God's job. It's not our job. Give everything you can to help others away for very little or free. It will all pay out in the end. When I stopped trying to make money in my business, my fitness business, is when I started making money. When I stopped trying to sell programs, when I stopped asking for money for people to buy things, this is one of the reasons I don't advertise myself all over online anymore. I give away pretty much everything for free. My book costs $30, but my book with all the information in it is basically free. I mean, $30 ain't changing my life. I mean, even with all the book orders I've had, the $30 on my book is not changing my life. It's basically free information out there for a small deposit. Give everything you can away for it's very little or free, and help others. Put others above yourself, and you will be amazed with what God will help you with. God will give you everything you need to live. Just put others before yourself and help others. Trust me, it really is that easy. Live like you're poor even when you're making money. Even when you start making money in life, live like you're poor. I wish I would have done this back when I was making all that money working for Quillen Brothers. I wish I would have lived like I was poor, but I was stupid. I was wasting money on stupid things, buying way extra groceries that I didn't need each week. I let the money get the best of me. Don't let it get the best of you. If you're in your early 20s especially, live like you're poor. Buy a shitty car. Drive the car till it dies. One of the biggest regrets I have in my life is buying my Pontiac G6. When I bought it, I paid 14 grand for the car, and I was making about 30,000 a year. That's ridiculous. I should have not bought a car more than $6,000. I should have bought a car $4,000. But instead, I was in debt for let's see here, three years. It took me 3.5 years to pay off that car. Buying that G6, while I love the car is awesome. I mean, that car is awesome. It's one of the biggest regrets I have is spending 14 grand on that car back in 2014 when I bought it. That is one of the biggest regrets. I wish after my Lumina went to shit, I wish I would have just bought another $2,000 car and saved up as much money as I could living poor. Nobody cares about the car you drive. All it is a vehicle that takes you from one place to another. Don't feel like you need to show off when you're making lots of money. Trust me, it'll bite you in the ass when you start doing that. Don't buy expensive clothes. No one cares what you wear. This is geared really at the young people here. Do not buy expensive clothes. Look at what Steve Jobs wore all the time, all through his life. A long black sweater t-shirt, or a long black sleeve t-shirt with jeans. Even when he was a billionaire, he was still wearing that. All the time. Mark Zuckerberg, he wears jeans and a light gray t-shirt all the time. He still does to this day. These billionaires, they're not idiots. They got that way because they know shit. They know how to live cheaply and save money and invest everything that they aren't using. That is a secret to wealth that many don't realize. Do not buy expensive clothes. No one cares what you wear. Walmart shirts, Amazon cheap shirts, they are just as good as super expensive stuff. Everyone is too worried about themselves to even care what others are doing. It's true. We are in a time in life where everybody is too worried about themselves to even think about what others are doing. So don't base your decisions trying to live up to others because they're too worried about themselves. It's true. You know, it is the sad truth we live in. People are too worried about themselves to worry about you. The one who ends up naked first at a party will usually make the worst decisions, but have the best stories to tell of it later on. This is a double-edged sword technique. Yeah, this is straight from me, college experience. I'm telling you, the one who wakes up naked, or the one who ends up naked first at a party, will usually make the worst decisions that night. Speaking from experience here. But they will have the best stories to tell. I have some of the best stories to tell from high school and college because I was one of the ones that ended up drunk and naked first at a party. A lot of funny stories came from that I have to this day that I can pull out in my repertoire. So that's just something I found, just something I want to put on this list. It can make for a good story, but also know you might make terrible decisions. Others' lives will always look more fun than yours, even when you're starting to enjoy your life. Basic grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Just remember that. If you're only working in life, then what is the point of life? If you're constantly working for other people in life, what is the point of your life then? It makes no sense. Create meaning for your life, and the meaning of your life should not just be constantly working for other people. The purpose of life, in my opinion, is to find the talents that God gave you and use those talents to help others. This is something I learned way too late on in my life. I always, that's one of the biggest questions we have. What is the purpose of life? It makes sense. The purpose of life is to find the talents that God gave you and use those talents to help others. Don't try to make a ton of money. Don't put money as your objective. Find the talents that God gave you naturally and do those talents in serving other people. And that is the meaning of life right there. Doing what you're good at, that God gave you to serve other people, to make other people happy. If you can't be yourself in a relationship, then end the relationship. You should never have to put up fake walls in a relationship. If you do, she is not the one or he is not the one. Don't let pride take you over. Glorify God through everything in life. Pride took me over in high school. I got kicked off the swim team, and it's one of the reasons I didn't play my senior year of water polo. It's one of my biggest regrets in life. I wish I would have had those last couple of years of swimming and water polo. But pride took me over. I thought I was way better than anybody on the team, and I thought I didn't need to practice with other people. Pride got the best of me, and it destroyed me. It destroyed the end of my high school career when I should have been enjoying it the most. Do not let pride take you over. It is the devil's work. It's literally why Lucifer was kicked out of heaven. Remember, Lucifer was kicked out of heaven because he thought he could be just as God. He could be just as good as God. And God saw that as pride and kicked him out. Literally, pride is the worst sin that you can fall for because it can pull you to the deep depths of hell if you're not careful. Always stay humble. Age is truly just a number. Don't let it get you down. I put this in me for myself. 30, it's just another number. It is what it is, Age is just a number. Aim to become wiser as you age. Just every age that you age on this world, try to be wiser than you were when you were younger. That's just something to grow with, Just think about that. Try to always become wiser. Whatever moment you are in, just accept it. Don't let emotions take control of you. Never let emotions take control of your actions. Control the emotions and make the actions based not around the emotion. Do not make a decision when emotions are attached to it. Only make the decision when there's no emotions to it. Remember that. It can save your life and save you from making a lot of big mistakes in life. Be like water and adapt to the situation. Water can be poured into anything. Water can be poured into a glass bowl. It can be poured into a square rectangle. It can be poured into a cup. It can be poured into any shape. But the water will always adapt to it. It doesn't complain. It doesn't say, "Oh, I should be a circle." It doesn't make excuses. The water just adapts to the situation. This was straight from Bruce Lee. Be like water. Adapt to any situation you're thrown in. No one can tell you how to live your life. You do you. Don't let anybody tell you you should do something a certain way. If you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. Don't let anybody tell you to live your life. I wish I would have listened to this advice back in the day. I would have avoided college. I would have avoided some of the mistakes I made early on in my life. I would probably have a lot more money nowadays. This is just, don't let anybody tell you how to live your life. You do you. Give when you can, but never feel forced to. Never feel forced to give money or give to other people. You should only want to do that. You should only want to give. If you don't want to truly give, then don't give. So many people give money away just thinking they're going to be rewarded in heaven. Don't live your life like that. God can see right through you. Trust me, God knows everything before you even think it. So if you think you're going to give money and do all this kind work and whatnot and think, "Oh, I'll be rewarded later on," God sees right through that. Only give when you truly want to give, when the emotion strikes that you truly want to do it out of your heart. Don't fall into the loop of always seeking others' valuation for yourself. Social media. Don't fall into things of where you constantly are living for others' validation for you. Don't think that others validate the actual your life. Don't think that other people's opinions on you is what makes your life. Just don't fall into it. Don't let others control your life or how you think about your life. If you knock a girl up, have the baby, man, or have the baby and man up and propose. That kid needs to be your number one focus now. So if you knock a girl up, one of the most coward things you can do, one of the most asinine things you can do for when you're a man, is not go after that relationship now and create a life out of it. Because here's what happened. You knocked that girl up. Chances are it wasn't on purpose, but it happened. Because God wanted a kid out of that situation. He wanted to bring new life out of that situation. You are literally spitting in the face of God, the creator of the universe, when you abandon that girl, abandon the kid, and leave them to be. I see this way too often. If you knock a girl up, you man up, you propose to her, even if you don't care the best for her, you put that kid first. Because that kid that you're going to have, you need to set them out on the right track and be good parents. One of the worst things you can do is abandon a child. That's one of the worst things you can do in life. If you have a kid, you do not abandon that child. Your life now is for that kid. You can no longer think just about yourself. You have to do whatever you can for that kid at that point. And it makes me mad because I know a lot of people, in my past that knocked a girl up and then they just left. They left the state. They drove far away. They didn't want anything to do with that kid. You are literally spitting in the face of God, the creator of everything when you do that. Never abandon a child. A child given to you from God is one of the greatest gifts that God can give you on this earth. Even if you don't want the kid. Do never abandon a child. It's the most coward thing a man can do. Kids will always grow up like their parents. If you have good parents, you are going to be raised right. And you are going to grow up right. That's just the truth of it. Kids will always grow up like their parents. Teach your kids about God and Jesus early on in life. If I was to have kids, one of the first things I would do is teach them the gospel. Because the gospel will literally forge the rest of their life. It will forge how they interact with others. It will forge kindness and compassion toward others in their life. It will forge a better relationship with God himself. Literally, the gospel can change somebody's mentality on how they think about life. Teach your kids the gospel early on in life. Teach your kids about God, how good God is. The gospel should be one of the first things anyone learns in life. Learn how to cook early on in life. It can be a very beneficial and a huge money saver. Too many people waste money on going out to eat all the time because they can't cook. Find recipes that you can cook easily, that you can make fast, that you can meal prep, and it will change your life. Learn how to cook at an early age. It can literally help you save a shit ton of money and save a shit ton of time as well. Stop eating out all the time. Pack lunches. Just like I said, you pack your lunches, stop eating out all the time. You can eat the same things daily. There's nothing wrong with that. I went through phases in my life where I'd eat the same lunch for years on years. If it works, it works. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. Work out 4 to 5 times a week, every week. Never miss scheduled workouts unless sick. This is just basic rules for anybody who's going to the gym. Try to get at least 4 workouts in a week, 5 if you can. And never miss workouts unless you're sick. And here I went into a little bit if you're sick. Working out while sick is okay as long as there's sickness above the chest. If the sickness is below the chest, take time off. So anytime you are suffering a head cold, for instance, it's okay to go to the gym. If you have a fever, probably not. You should just rest up. But anytime the sickness is below the chest or below, that is when you should take time off the gym. But if it's just like a head cold or something like that, or maybe sinuses, usually moving around can help a little bit with that. There's nothing wrong with going to the gym like that. I use the above the chest to go to the gym, and if it's below the chest, then I take the time off. If working out while under the weather, don't train hard. If you're sick or kind of sick, use it as deload time. Don't push your hardest when you're sick. Your body's already trying to fight a sickness. It doesn't need to fight constant tension to trying to improve muscle tissue at that time. It needs to focus on getting better first. But working out, going through the motions, doing a deload, that's fine. Just don't push too hard. If you're getting sick, trying to act as healthy as possible. The brain is powerful, and you can think positive and can easily beat a sickness early on if you don't let it take you over. That was the hardest grammar to read ever. Okay. Basically what I was saying there, if you're getting sick, don't fall into thinking you're sick. Think like you're healthy. You'd be amazed how many sicknesses you can beat early on if you just keep acting like you're healthy, living like normal, and you can usually beat a sickness with just that brain power. Positivity is powerful. It works. 500 milligrams of Tylenol to 200 milligrams of Advil can make you feel 100% better if you're sick. I used this approach to beat COVID twice. During COVID, though, I was actually doing 500 milligrams to 400 milligrams of Advil, and I was doing that every 6 hours, and it helped me feel all the better during COVID. I still use that recipe to this day. I mean, just For instance, with this sickness I'm fighting right now, I'm doing 500 milligrams of Tylenol, 200 milligrams of Advil. It's literally because I'm literally allergic to most cold and flu stuff, so I can't take cold and flu stuff without bursting out in hives. My body was just not meant for medical stuff, so I have to be very careful what I take. But one thing that I found that for me works really well is Tylenol and Advil together. They are a dream. They can make you feel so much better. They can help a lot. If you don't have a home gym, invest in one. You never know when you might need it. It saved my insanity when the world shut down in 2020. Leave some money on the side, and invest slowly in a home gym. My home gym, if I was to sell everything, it's probably worth $2,500, $2,500 to $3,000. But I didn't buy it all at one time. I invested slowly into it, and I slowly built it to where I wanted it to be. But yeah, don't be afraid to throw a couple grand at a home gym. It will save your life during a pandemic. Don't let others tell you what you should do medically. Get a second opinion and always read your own research. Never think a doctor knows it all. Doctors don't know it all, guys. They're humans just like us. They sure went to school for stuff and they know certain things that we don't know, but they don't know it all. They don't know enough to make big decisions based on that. So anytime you're diagnosed with something pretty big, always get a second opinion and always read your own research. I mean, if I would have listened to this, I would have got on TRT back in 2011. And I would be on TRT for the rest of my life if I wouldn't have, done my own opinions and found out that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. Don't let a doctor tell you that he knows it all or that he knows the best path for you when you should get like a second opinion from others, and also just read for it yourself online. There are tons of forums online. Reddit is a great forum. Reddit. Reddit has saved my life and many times in life because you can search up any topic on there and people will be talking about it. It can help you a lot anytime you're having questions and stuff. Somebody's dealt with it already out there. Always have an emergency fund that can last you at least a couple months if you need it. Always, no matter what, if you're working at a job, set enough money aside always that you could quit your job on the spot and survive for 2 months. Always have that money in spare hand. That way, if something does happen, you need to leave your job, you get fired, you at least have 2 months to get yourself back into finding an income again. Live with your parents for as long as you can, as long as you can, and as long as you can stand it. Save all the money you can while working your ass off. This is something I wish I would have done instead of going to college. I wish I would have not gone to college, and I wish I would have just got a job right out of high school and lived with my parents for as long as I could stand it and save up as much money as possible. If I would have done that, I could have probably made a lot better decisions in my life. But that's just something that I probably would have done because I moved out. I mean, I went to college right after high school, and then from there, I got a house. I started renting a house, and it is expensive living on your own. That is literally the next one on the list. Living alone can be expensive. Make the most out of your time and live with your parents for as long as you can to save up as much money as you can. That's just a good lesson. Begin every day by reading just a small section of the Bible. It will reprogram your thinking. Even to this day, after reading the Bible all the way through for me, I still read just a little bit every day, even if it's just like a section. Like, for instance, I'm going through the Psalms right now. Every day I read one of the Psalms. Just a little bit of the Bible will change your thinking. It's pretty amazing. Ask God for wisdom daily. Every day when you wake up, ask God to give you wisdom for the day. You will be amazed at the better decisions you can make. God's always listening, guys. He's never not listening. He will always grant you what you ask if it's in the better good. And wisdom is always in the better good. God will always provide for you, but sometimes he waits till the perfect time to do so. Just keep having faith. Things might be going to shit, but always have faith. God is always looking out for you. He will always help you. Even when all times seem to be going to hell, he will provide at just the nick of time. In action movies, when somebody's going to die, one of the main characters, and then something happens last minute to save the main character, that's God. God will always step in that last minute. Relationships can honestly be the hardest thing to figure out. This is something I've learned all through my life. Relationships, and I still to this day don't have them figured out. I help more people with relationships than I have myself. They're just super difficult. Even me, I know a lot of psychology and a lot of psychological skills, but relationships are still damn hard to figure out. Conversation and honesty can save most relationships. Having a conversation with people and just being honest with each other can honestly save most relationships. It's true. Talk it out. Talk it out. Okay, my computer almost went crazy again there. There's always going to be a new snake oil on the market. Don't fall for it. Stick with what works. Talking to the fitness industry here, there will always be new products that come out and say they promise 50 pounds of muscle in a year or something stupid like that. We know what works, guys. We know creatine works. We know L-citrulline malate works. We know coffee works for a good pre-workout. We know these things work. We know sodium works too. That's stuff that works. We don't need to fall for the snake oils. Don't fall for the snake oils. I would have saved thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars had I known this to not fall for shit when I was younger. If you're hungover, the best cure is 2 bananas, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 2 whole eggs, a glass of milk, and coffee. Through my years of being a heavy drinker when I was younger, I found the perfect cure for a hangover. And this works every time. It works every time. Two bananas, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 2 whole eggs, a glass of milk, and coffee, a cup of coffee. It will cure almost any hangover. I guarantee it. It's the hangover cure. I should patent that. If you're out drinking with friends and you get home, when you get home, drink a big glass of milk before going to bed. Yeah, this works. If you're drunk, if you go home and you're drunk and don't go straight to bed when you're drunk. Never go straight to bed when you're drunk. Always either drink some water before going to sleep or better yet, a glass of milk. What happens is a glass of milk can it's a base, for instance. Milk is not acidic like alcohol. So basically, you're balancing the pH in your body by having a big glass of milk before bed. So you wake up with less of a hangover. It's just something I learned when I used to drink way entirely too much. Thank goodness I don't do that anymore. Temptation will always strike hard when you are under the influence. Be smart and stay wise. Yeah, if you're out drinking with friends and there's a really attractive girl, even if she's married, and you guys are having a good time, temptation might strike you to make a move. Do not fall for that. Do not fall for that temptation, though. The devil will always strike when you're at your weakest. The devil ain't dumb. The devil is not an idiot like some people make him out to be. He's been around a long time. He knows how people think. He knows when people are drunk, they will make and fall into temptation. I almost slept with a married woman once when I was out drinking with friends at a bar. I almost got with her. She had just had a baby with the guy, and I almost got with her. She was drunk and she was flirting with me, and but I realized right then. Luckily, my faith is strong and God is strong with me, and I knew that was a bad decision. I mean, she was very attractive, and she was falling into my lap, and I had to shut it down. And it's hard. It's very hard to do that. But do not fall into temptation. And when you're under the influence, that's when the devil is going to try to strike you the hardest. Same with any type of drugs like marijuana or something. Don't drink lots on a work night. Yeah, if you have to go to work the next day and be there at 8 o'clock, don't get drunk the night before. I have gone to work many times in my past with a hangover. It sucks. The day takes forever. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to fall into other problems. It's just a bad deal. Don't drink on a work night. Just don't do it. Shower at night before bed. Have morning clothes laid out and sleep in for as long as you can daily. Basically, do whatever you can do at night the night before to allow yourself to sleep in longer in the morning. That way you can get more sleep, recover better, and have a better day. I've talked about this before, but showering at night is a great thing. That way you don't have to shower in the morning. Have your clothes all laid out, ready to go, and make everything as easy as you can for the morning so you can sleep in longer. Being on time is overrated. Showing up late to things shows confidence that you are not afraid. Yeah. So I'm sure employers that are listening to this are thinking, yeah, if you want to get fired, sure. And maybe this isn't the best advice, but this is something I learned in time that, being on time to things is really overrated. If you show up late to things and have confidence while doing so, don't show up late and act like you're late. Show up late and that you just don't give a shit. Like I said, this might not be the best advice for the young ones. And maybe I wouldn't have lost some jobs earlier on in my life if I didn't follow this, but this is something that I followed, and it is just what it is. Being on time is overrated, I think. Show up late, and be confident when you do it, and it shows that you are not afraid. It literally shows strength. Never let other people think you're weak. Never fall into weakness from other people. Just don't do it. Stay strong, stay confident. That is the mind of a warrior right there. Move slow to show confidence. People who rush around are weak-minded. The people that you always see rushing around, getting groceries really quick, slamming the door, always acting like they're in a hurry, guess what? They're weak-minded. They don't pay attention to their surroundings. They're super weak. They are literally a target for people that want to maybe rob or steal from them. Like literally, you are showing weakness from that. But yeah, so just anytime you're doing things, move in a slow, confident fashion. The slower you move, other people might see it as being lazy. It is confidence, and it shows that you are strong-minded and that it shows you are not to be messed with. Think about this from an animal standpoint. Think about this as like in Africa, for instance. Lions, they move nice and slow and confident. The gazelle, though, that they're chasing is constantly worried about things, constantly, looking back and forth, constantly moving fast. They look weak. When you move fast, you look weak. Move slow and confident like a lion. Doing that is a very powerful psychological booster and can show strength. You only need to wash your hair one time a week. Natural hair oils are a good thing for hair. Condition it when it feels dry, though. I wish I would have known about this earlier on in my days. I have the healthiest hair I've ever had in my life from following this tip. You only need to wash your hair with shampoo one time a week. Whenever you wash your hair with shampoo, what happens is it rids the oils, the natural oils from your head. And it takes those natural good oils from your hair and it strips them of it. So your hair becomes drier and more brittle. People think that your hair is cleaner, but that's actually not such the case. And also, this is something you might need to ease into. If you are just getting into washing your hair only one time a week, you might notice more oil buildup than normal. This is because your hair over time will get used to not shampooing it as often. If you only shampoo your hair one time a week, over time it will build up to where your hair oils naturally produce at a slower amount, and your hair will look a lot more healthier. Condition it when it feels dry, though. Maybe that's every other day. Maybe that's every 2 days. Maybe if you have really dry hair, maybe that's every day. But just condition it when it feels dry. Your hair should always have a slight moistness to it when it's healthy. And natural hair oils are a good thing. Don't constantly rid your hair of natural hair oils. Grow a beard as soon as you can in life. Beards show that you are alpha, and they can be a confidence booster. Do it. If you can grow a beard, do it. It's going to be all the better. You're just going to be more confident, and it's an alpha sign. When you don't have hair on your face, it just shows a sign of weakness. Just do it. I mean, I'm not a big guy in life. I'm a small dude, but I feel pretty alpha. I've got a pretty good beard and mustache. And it's a confidence booster. Try it out. You might be amazed. If your girlfriend does not like beards, dump her. She isn't the one. Yeah, there's some girls out there that don't like beards. They are not the one, guys. They are not the one. If I don't lose my voice by the end of this, I'm coming up on the end of this list, guys, so stick with me. Never make a decision based off emotions. Have a clear mind when making a decision. We already covered that. If you need a clear mind, use the breathing in a box technique that the military uses. If you have my book, I describe how to do this. Basically, all you do is breathe out of your nose, but you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then don't breathe for 4 seconds. That's breathing in a box. If you try that out, you will instantly calm yourself, calm any anxiety. It's a tactic the military uses. The Navy uses this all the time. It's taught to the Navy especially. Maybe the Marines too, I'm not sure, but I know it's taught to the Navy. It's called breathing in a box. You can look up how to do it if you don't understand. It's very, very powerful. Don't obsess about being lean. No one gives a shit if you have abs. This is true, guys. They're too worried about their own physique. They're worried if you have abs. Don't be obsessed about being lean. Big and beastly is always better than being skinny. Being super skinny is one of the worst things you can do for yourself. Big and beastie, they are always going to be the more powerful, more alpha. They'll, get the most chicks probably. It is what it is. Big and beastie is always the answer. Learn some type of martial art in life. You never know when you might need to protect a loved one. Learn something at least, guys. Learn the easiest martial art you can if you need to, but learn some type of martial art in life. Donate a good time of your life to know something at least. I know a few different ones, but one easy one you can start with is Wing Chun. Wing Chun is very instinctual. That's one reason it's very good for a lot of people. It was created actually by an old woman over in China, I believe. The woman was actually in her 60s when she created it, and it's a very, very legitimate martial art. It can be used in any scenario and can be very brutal too, and it can protect you if you need to be protected. And it's very easy to learn, and it's instinctual. That's the best thing about it. You can naturally go to it in a fight. That's an easy one that anybody can learn. Words are powerful and can end most confrontations. Words are like a sword, just like Jesus said in the Gospels. Words are very powerful and more stronger than a sword a lot of times. In a confrontation with somebody, use words first before actions. You can often end a fight with words before getting aggressive and physically. When building a negotiation with someone, always bring something to the table that helps the other person. Anytime you are trying to build a negotiation or you are trying to ask for a raise, for instance, in life, always bring something to the table, to the conversation that will help and benefit the other person before it helps you. They will see that as you care about them, and they will usually fall into the negotiation tactic. That's a psychological tactic you can use. People will follow you if you put them above yourself. People will always follow others that care more about them than they do themselves. This is something that any leader knows. Be a leader, not a boss. Don't be a boss. There's a big difference. A boss just bosses people around. A leader is a role model. He shows and this is a good meme too. I saw a meme a while back that was great. A boss will sit in the very back of a battle. They'll just let their comrades battle it all out. But a true leader will be at the very front of the battle. They're ready to go in with their troops because they're a leader. They're motivational. They keep the motivation with the group that they are being a leader of. Be a leader in life. Don't be a boss. Don't boss people around. Be a leader. Be a good role model for others and lead the battle. Don't sit like in the back like a damn coward. Give respect and get respect and vice versa. It's that simple. Give respect to others and you will get respect back. If they don't respect you back, well, then you have the freedom to not give respect to them. It's as simple as that. If you get respect, though, you give respect. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. The golden rule, guys. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. Love God above everything in life. Friends will come and go. Always be able to survive with no one, though. You will have friends in life that you get really close with. But then there will also be times when you lose those friends. A lot of people, lose hope and just go through depression when they don't have friends. Be able to live alone. Always have the backup plan in your mind that if I have to live alone, I can. Having friends can be very beneficial and can save you in dark times. They can. Anytime you are in a depressed state, having friends will always help you pull you out of that depressed state. Don't join gangs, even if it looks so attractive. I could have made a lot less mistakes in my life if I would have followed this rule that I have now back in the day. In middle school, I got wrapped up with bad people. That really, really was not a good thing. I'm glad I got out of that situation, though. Learn to play at least one musical instrument in life. Music is joy. These next two go right hand in hand, but learn to play something in life. I learned to play the guitar in high school, and I still know how to play it to this day. I know a little bit of piano, but always know how to play some type of instrument in life, guys. You'd be amazed what the skill of that can come of. If you're at a party or something and somebody has a guitar, that can bring out a social engagement with people. Always know how to play some type of musical instrument. And plus, music, if you have nothing else in life, can bring you joy. I mean, when I went through depression back in the day, and even in high school, when I lost a lot of friends due to pride and got kicked off the swim team, I focused on playing guitar and I got really damn good at it. It brought me joy. Sunlight can cure depression. Anytime you're depressed, step out into the sun. Take a walk in the sun. You might be amazed how much better you feel. Drinking green tea daily at night can help strengthen your immune system. I say this as I'm sick, and I say this as I drank green tea last night. But it does. I believe it can strengthen your immune system. Some of the longest living people in this world live over in Asia, Japan, China. They have the longest life expectancy over there, and I think it's because they drink tea after all their meals. That just might be a correlation to that. I don't know. Just something to think about. Reading is how you build knowledge. Read always. Find a book always to be reading. Always be trying to further your knowledge. Reading is knowledge. Reading will help you grow knowledge. And the last one I have on this list is YouTube do-it-yourself videos can save you so much money. You would not believe the amount of times in life when I've had to learn something I know nothing about, and it saved me so much money. For instance, an ice maker goes out of my fridge. This happened like 10 years ago. I could not have the ice maker just wasn't working, and I had no way of fixing it. It would be super expensive to, get it fixed by a professional. I watched a few different YouTube do-it-yourself videos, and I was a master on ice makers. I knew how to take it apart from scratch and put it back together in just a few hours. It's amazing what do-it-yourself videos on YouTube can do. I have fixed my oven before on that. I have done things I never knew how to do by using do-it-yourself videos. If you're at a loss and you don't have money to solve things, just search it up on YouTube and search the problem that you have and then DIY after it, and you will figure out how to do it. It's amazing. You can learn all kinds of shit from that. So like I said, guys, that's this podcast. We're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. I just wanted to do this podcast. Like I said, 30 is a big milestone in life. I've learned a lot of my life. Hopefully I'm going to learn a lot more before my time comes. But I hope this wisdom, I hope this knowledge that I've shared with you today can help you make better decisions in life and not fall into some of the mistakes I did in my life. And especially for you young guys too, that have a better chance of falling into some of these same mistakes. Hopefully this keeps you out of those mistakes because you can know some of the long-term effects of them. But yeah, guys, I'm going to call this there. I'm losing my voice. I hope you enjoyed this different podcast this week. Hope you guys learned something. We'll hopefully be back next week, if this sickness doesn't kill me, with a brand new podcast if I survive my 30th birthday. We'll be back with another fitness podcast next week. And till then, guys, I will stay strong and God bless.